Yeah, I was already planning my hostile takeover at that point, but clearly...
Diabolical plot to take over the world.
As a status update, but he said Facebook got me friends, Twitter got me followers, but MySpace got me laid.
Ain't that the truth?
I remember Josh and myself going to your house and seeing your bedroom. And remember you had the poster of Macaulay Culkin?
No, I don't remember that at all.
Yes! All right, welcome to episode number 2 of the Phantoms podcast.
It's been so long since we got together.
I know. Guys, I'm glad we can meet two days in a row. So we've already talked about how we started. We got suspended. Who defended us during our suspension, which I never knew about. I forgot that all that.
Yeah. It's probably more likely we forgot.
Yeah, I don't remember. So now we jump into the world of, we come back with our Christmas issue. Is that?
Yeah, the Christmas issue was the first one we actually published upon coming back. I think it was kind of half done anyway.
Yeah, we had.
Yeah, we had already been working on stuff when we got suspended. I mean, because we were always working on stuff. We had stuff after every issue that's just like leftover stuff that we'd be like, oh, we'll put it in the next issue, or we had too many top 10 lists or something.
Right.
Which we always had too many of those.
Before we get in too much, I think since we're at the beginning of our second episode here, I think we'll just make it easy on the listeners here. This is Nate Ferreira, aka Havoc the Extant.
Oh, we got to do it.
So they can recognize who's talking.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, that's true.
This is Josh Pierce, aka Kato.
This is Brian Kazaska, aka Edward Jr.
And this is not from the bathroom of Red Lobsters.
No, it's not the.
It's an awkward reference nobody will get.
Right. I wish you had found the audio tapes.
I don't know where it is, man.
That was
I
the
remember
summer.
Seeing it.
I think the summer in between.
Yes.
we decided, like, well, let's record stuff. We had fun with audio tapes. Then we're like, we have video. And Josh, I'm going to get a hold. If with your permission, if you're fine with me posting, if I digitize this video and put it on the page.
You don't got to worry about me.
Okay. Well, I mean.
I'm fine with all of it.
Me and Josh did this thing, and we look so young, and we're in our friend Jose's living room. He's doing camera work, and we're like, we're doing Phantoms TV show, Phantoms, whatever, Phantom Vision.
Yep.
And then we did sketches, and what at the very end was something prison sports. Yep. And Josh, we go bowling, and he has the ball attached to his ankle, and he falls. And then you're like, lifting weights, and then the bar slams you in the head, and we died laughing, and then we just cut. There's no more after that. That bar just hit you, and you're like, oh, it hit me on the head. And I think you fell on the ground laughing.
That might have been the concussion. I don't know.
Yeah. So I will post that.
I got to see it, because it's like I have like vague, cloudy memories of it, but not as clear as you're describing it. So
well, I watched it. That's why. Because when I saw it, I was like,
maybe when I got hit in the head, it all went. I don't know.
I really would just like to see Josh get hit in the head. So.
Well, the video. I'll have to post this soon. Give me an excuse to put it onto DVD, because it's still on VHS. It's on a VHS tape.
The reference I was making earlier was that same summer we had done basically like a cassette tape, and it's in one of the magazines.
Don't Steal, or something, songs we stole, or
something about songs we stolen, which is what it was.
Yeah.
It was basically us acting like DJs and hosting a radio show, and it was
sketches in between.
Yeah, little like sketches, and we were basically, when we came on, we'd say, okay, we're live from the bathroom at Red Lobster, and then we'd flush the toilet and all giggle.
Yeah. And we go, Michael Jackson is like it was something where Michael Jackson was attacking us. The script, I did post a script, which is just nonsense. My horrible handwriting and misspelling of every word, and just like everything's written out in script form, and it was pretty cool. Yeah, I mean, if you ever find that, oh my God, Josh.
I'm gonna keep on looking. I remember seeing it a few years back. I think it was when I moved into the house I'm in now was the last time I saw it. But I after I saw all this stuff a few weeks ago, and I went up to my attic, I was digging through like boxes I had in there, and I was not able to find it. And I went over to my mother's house. She has like a big chest that she keeps all memorabilia in, which I actually found a couple of the issues that you had already posted up on there, a couple photocopies of it, but I couldn't find the tape in there. So I promise not to stop looking. I will be ever vigilant, but I haven't found it yet.
And you say there is issues we're missing.
There's a guy. There was an issue which showed on the cover was a phantom's head. He had the hood. It was just the head. It was drawn by Rob, and I'm trying to remember his name. I want to say Cordry, but I'm not. I don't know if I'm thinking of the right Rob.
That photo.
No, it's not the right Rob. He's not in the class photo though.
No.
No, we have a picture of that cover. You say?
Yeah.
No, we don't.
It's
not the one you're thinking of.
It's not.
No, I don't know who drew that, because this was like really good drawing.
I do, yeah.
That
remember,
one?
no.
It's not that one, no, because it was like a full head. Like the one page was just the head.
It was like a headshot of death, basically.
Yeah, basically.
With mostly shadow.
So what was else? You were saying that issue could have just contained mostly those Dan cutouts?
I don't think that issue did, because we had an issue that had like right on the front of it had like a crossword puzzle for the front page.
Yeah.
That's the one that had mostly Dan.
Maybe
that Dan and his mom did. Basically, this was after we got back, and we were a few issues in, and people just started like getting down on it because the teachers were too involved and they were censoring stuff. Yeah. Even though the teachers weren't really censoring much of anything.
No, the teachers actually. I honestly believe, even though a lot of the people in our group wanted, certainly the loss of anonymity was a blow to our culture. But really, I think what we needed to move into would have really lasted. I think what we really needed was more teacher involvement at that point, because we needed somebody to help us shape it into something that was appropriate and still brought us all the had the humor, but maybe a little bit more polish, and start planning things out and say, if you just did cap it at 10 pages, then you can throw all this stuff out and I think with a little bit of more guidance, I think once we were approved as a group,
it got better. I thought
I think there were a lot of things that got better, but I think we had really no involvement from the teachers whatsoever, other than using Mr. Sweet's classroom. It was like, we'll leave this room unlocked. You can be in there. Well, we had to hand it to them at the end.
Yeah, because I used to have to meet with Miss Joanitis once a week or once.
We had
every 2 to 3 weeks whenever we put it out. And I used to have to go there with the copy, and she used to like go through things with me before we could do it.
Yeah, they had to approve it. And I don't know how we got the Mr. Sperm Christmas cover approved by anybody. It did get published.
They did come back and say, like,
I think we fought it.
Is this a dick? Is this a dick?
Yeah.
Not that they said it that way, but
yeah, I think we did fight it. We did fight things, and we got through it.
Yeah.
I think the articles, it became less bashing of people and just weirdness, which was great. And
it also became like a social club too. I mean, a lot of people would show up just because it was cool. Like, hey, these are the guys that did the underground newspaper. So now it's like our group of like 10 to 15 people turned into a group of 30 people.
Right.
And don't get me wrong, people contributed, but it was like they weren't there necessarily because they wanted to do something for a newspaper. They just wanted to
hang.
Yeah. They wanted to be on the edge of something cool, and which is cool, I mean, that's not a bad thing.
Well, that's actually the thing that made me think we really needed, looking back on it, that made me think we really could have used more guidance in the actual meetings, because ultimately what we were
notes,
doing. Yeah, it was like we vote people in or out, and it wasn't based on are they contributing. It was like are they part of our social group or not.
Let me bring that up. But speaking of which, it's kind of funny. I found these notes going, holy shit, we did this, and I could not for the life of me remember. We voted people in and out. Let's see.
I don't know why we would have done that.
But we did it.
Well, because we were trying to control.
I think it's because so many people
fast.
wanted to join in,
and
we had already had like a group of like 20, like I said, 20 to 30 people, and it was kind of like it was more than we could handle having all these people just show up because it wasn't. They weren't showing up to just like
to work.
Work. They were showing up to. Because all their friends were there.
I think you nailed it. Because if you look at this, it's a Phantoms meeting from 1995, letting people go. The Poodle, vote yes, 21, no, Tamika. 1. Candy, Kathy, or Michelle. And then someone wrote down what they're good at. And Vicky took the notes. So she wrote down their pros. And then we voted. And Kathy was voted in. 14 other people got nothing, barely, and that was who was voted in. Or people letting people go. So did we? Oh, we voted on the Poodle to leave.
Oh, I guess the Poodle got kicked out. That was Tamika.
Yeah, that was Tamika.
Yeah.
And then, very weird.
Well, I don't know that Tamika ever did anything. I don't know. It's just because she just kind of like came there with Debbie, I think.
Probably, yeah.
It was one of her friends, and she was just kind of being a distraction to me, and she didn't really help or anything. So it was kind of like, and again, it's like I understand that. I mean, you gotta, So it wasn't. It's like we were, or at least me personally, I was never like mad at people for wanting to show up and hang out, but at the same time, it was like
we were getting work. We only get work.
We wanted to make something happen. I mean, and we did for a while, and then stopped.
And I think Nate became the during those meetings. I just remember being in a classroom, and that classroom was just filled with kids in a whole circle, and Nate's in the middle, pacing, and everyone's chatting, and you're pacing. And I just remember you're quiet and pacing, and I think you just slammed something. Everybody just went, and you're like, welcome. And then you just got talking, and like you got everyone's attention, and that's what you were so good at.
Yep.
We could never do that. You were just you had it. You wanted attention, and you commanded it, and they gave it to you, and none of us could do that.
Yeah.
Without laughing.
Right. Yeah. Actually, and I'll let you guys know now. I was terrified the first time. Absolutely terrified.
Yeah.
You always kept calm. You
were always, and you were always somebody who could like seemed like natural to stand up in front of people and just pontificate or whatever, however you want to put it.
That's true. You always seem very natural. Like, no, this is not a big deal.
Because I certainly wasn't at that time, that was one of the hard times we had. Was like all these people wanted to be involved, and we had no idea how to coordinate any of it,
And I didn't either, but I made it up as I went.
Yeah.
And
you did a fantastic job.
Well,
and then you guys, your feedback afterward, I would try to incorporate the next time around. But I certainly I was looking back on that and thinking about those meetings, and there's a ton of stuff I do now that I could not be doing if I hadn't developed those skills. Particularly managing a large group of unruly teenagers.
You do that on a regular basis now, don't you?
I'm as the director of the drama club at Enfield High School and at Summers High School.
Yes, you brought
this.
Awesome. You brought this into your job.
Yeah, and I'm able to make a positive impact on the lives of most of those kids, and it's only because I learned how to control and direct a large group of kids when I was one myself.
Yeah, that's true. You were good. I mean, that's awesome. I mean, I think that's why me and Josh, we definitely saw that in you. I know I did. I mean, you always had that presence about you, and you were always like dry sense of humor. Like you still have that now. So. Like if we said something stupid,
the guy
we would
who
get
hasn't
giggle.
seen me in years.
Well, I mean, if you were up there,
well, I've laughed at least 6 or 7 things you said so far today, so I know it's there.
Yeah. But I mean, you didn't laugh at your own jokes mostly. I mean, I know you do, but like when you were up there, you kept that face straight. You were just like listen to me. And then you would crack jokes and people would laugh, but you wouldn't let people get carried away. You just continued.
Yep.
I think if it was one of us, it would have been chaos. Yeah. But yeah, like these notes, which I found, I'm like, oh, these are gold. Sweeney said fuck 3 times. Meeting, printing 4. And someone wrote, Mr. Sweeney said fuck 3 times.
Well, that's an amazing thing when you get a teacher to say the F word 3 times,
Yeah.
not once, not twice, but
I'm sure I've gotten teachers to say that more than 3 times.
Now, this was editor's note, and I wanted to know if you guys remember this. They wrote down fundraiser. We didn't do anything with a fundraiser.
No, we didn't. But I think that was something I wanted to do.
Okay.
And we may even have spoken to our advisors about it. And it was just not something that they were really prepared to run. That's once you start collecting money, that's a really difficult thing to do right. And they were still trying to get us to stop harassing other students and threatening the general public. And because in this meeting note, it's like fundraising, rush Christmas issue.
Yeah.
So I think we rushed the Christmas issue, and then we did our official comeback issue.
Yeah.
Yes.
Christmas came out, and then it was like, okay, we're officially back.
Yeah.
Renee logo. Debbie speaks out about how we act. I think we were being reprimanded.
Yeah, probably.
We did have the mother hens of the group that would do that. No offense to anybody, but
a lot of us were immature.
Yeah, we're very mature. I think Debbie probably was very mature compared to a lot of us. Other than the article. She was, though.
For the most part, yes.
And then we voted on the fundraiser. Mm-hmm. And then we wrote dodgeball and dunk tank wins.
So obviously that was Lynn's side.
I remember now. We wanted to set up a dodgeball tournament between a team of students and a team of teachers.
That just sounds like a great idea.
It does. I might actually try to do that at Enfield High now. But
okay, so that makes a lot of sense. I do remember that.
And we did think it would be awesome to get like a teacher or administrator in a dunk tank too.
Yes, I think it was like having Mr. Sweeney or somebody in there. Yeah, I do remember that. Okay.
But apparently it only lasted from 2:31 to 3:06.
Yeah, that was pretty
35
quick.
35 minutes.
Yeah. This one was my favorite. All us phantoms are happy and together and like to wish you a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, have a good vacation, your friend the freak. And that was all her notes. That was it. Phantoms meeting... late
date.
People, good people, money for Phantoms Fund, contest for cover,
we
2
did
votes.
collect change. We had like a change jar.
Oh, yes.
It says sway.
Sway. Yeah.
One thing accomplished. Right on.
Oh, here we go.
I like this notes. We're still reading the notes pages from the meetings. It says, Melanie and Justina late. Bullshit. and this is big letters across the page.
So obviously this person did not like them and the fact they were late.
Discuss Stacy's ass. Apparently she has a big one.
Was Melanie Braceface?
Yes.
You know what? I
so.
think you might be right there.
Yes.
I don't remember what Justina was.
Assassination of Josh? Wait, it says assassination of Josh Debbie Research? It's all blurry right there. Can't tell.
Yeah, maybe.
Hacking around the room.
Okay.
WordPerfect.
See, this was like right around like January, February. So I was on the wrestling team back then, and we would have the meetings, and I would be like halfway through the meeting, and I'd have to leave to go to wrestling practice.
Yep.
Oh, yep.
So that's probably where that came in. I wasn't there.
This is an interesting
so
part.
All right, make fun of Josh now.
Yeah. No, I think it says WordPerfect. Me, Rich Toms, Justin, Craig, and Debbie the Almighty. So maybe these people.
These were people with computers.
That had WordPerfect.
Yeah, because that was like a big thing to have WordPerfect back then. Like no whiteout, baby.
Yeah. No more typing. And this is an interesting side note. They wrote spitting or swallowing.
And chewing, it says.
Chewing. And then Splum discussion.
Now, I recall Splum was a heavy
word.
Heavy word back then. Yeah. You know, I mean, we use the word Splum quite a bit, and I just still don't know what it means.
Me neither. But I think that was kind of the point.
Wasn't Splumpking?
So I think you're thinking of Blumpkin, and it's
Oh,
going
God,
in the totally
no.
wrong direction with
I
that
just
one.
learned what that was. No,
Keep it to yourself.
yeah, but spitting or swallowing, why would we have that? Yeah, that was discussion at the table.
It says 257, nothing at all.
Here we go. This is a normal Phantoms meeting. Changing
This was to
Wednesdays.
12/21/1995. So this was like right before Christmas
Yeah.
vacation.
We're
This
changing
had
to-
to be right after we put out the Christmas issue, and we're probably getting ready to start doing the next one.
Yeah, changing to Wednesdays, so we're going to change our meetings. Logan late, Ray late, Justina late, Melanie late, utter chaos,
Adjourned.
So, I mean, that was basically the whole meeting.
Yeah,
I-
so we didn't get nothing done.
I like that Mike's the only one that gets named in the notes by his pen name.
Yeah,
Is
that's
it?
true.
Yeah.
We didn't have somebody actually named Logan.
Yeah, it was Mike was Logan.
Yeah.
Logan, the shining one.
Yep.
Phantoms meeting, this was opening 2:30. Ray late, Rich T, Justin late, Stacy Craig, all late, I guessing. Next issue, cover fundraising, which we never did. Codes of conduct, which was new. I think the codes of conduct you created.
Yeah.
You created the codes of conduct. Way of assigning issue printing this week. Computer dilemma.
I don't know what that is.
Phantom
I know what that was.
activities. Dirty
Well, there's
talking?
always computer dilemmas.
Yeah, didn't your computer break?
Well, my computer broke, but I think this particular thing actually, if we had the reason we had the whole thing about WordPerfect, was that before or after this meeting?
There's no date on this one.
I
so.
think.
So it might have been before.
Yeah.
The WordPerfect thing was we were talking about who has what program so that we can kind of spread the work around.
Because
so
you
that
were
I'm
doing
not,
a lot of it.
Yeah, and
A lot of typing.
that was
Yeah.
the only work. The closest thing to schoolwork I did.
Yeah.
In
We
high
wanted
school
to make
was-
it look professional.
Yeah,
And as
and,
you see, we did like a half-ass job with that. But
But the computer issue, one of the other people who had WordPerfect and had said they would be typing up a bunch of stuff, said that they had computer issues. And looking back on this and thinking about some of the excuses I threw out over my my high school career, I suspect they just didn't do all the time that they were going to do.
Yeah.
And said, "Oh, my computer broke and I lost all this work, guys. I'm sorry."
Fair enough. Well, we have a
I've
thing.
used that excuse a few times.
We have someone made a list. It's like computers: Vicky, Debbie, Craig, Stacy, Rich, Justin, IK. The page is folded, and then WordPerfect was Mike and Ray.
Yeah.
And something circled. I can't read that. So
Authority?
yeah. So those are the people. Like, and then I think Nate made the logos, the Ed Wood Chaos logo. And then what would we do was the
I never had
secret
a logo.
was we would cut those out. I think. Didn't you have a logo? No.
Nah, I just always just signed my name.
But I think our secret was we would cut out these logos and paste them on after the article, and you didn't have to
Yeah.
redo it all the time. That was our secret.
Shh, don't tell anybody.
Yeah. And then I have found notes like issue 5, all the stuff we used. History of Phantoms,
See, I see this history of the Phantoms.
95.
So it's like April 3rd, April 10th, April 24th, May 8th, May 22nd, May 29th, and then June 5th.
5th.
Those were all dates in the history of the Phantom.
That was in the beginning. That was first volume 1.
So it's 7 issues in volume 1.
Yeah. And then
Wow.
the last issue, volume 1, was in June 5th, and that was our goodbye for the summer. And then we came back September 11th, and we went right through, and there's more on the next page. So we did it from what? What? Yes, that was.
We're going to have to do a little more editing.
Yeah, that's.
We still have editing problems
I
nowadays.
can't even see what you guys are looking at.
Yeah.
Well, we'll talk about it later.
And then
Let's not worry about it.
it lists the people who got suspended, and then goes to November 9th is our comeback issue. Phantoms expect from 17 to 30 Phantoms.
Mm-hmm.
Salute to OJ, Dead Again. On December 8th, issue 5. December 22nd, Christmas issue comes out.
So there was an issue in between the comeback issue and the Christmas issue. So the Christmas issue did come out after.
So Christmas issue sounds to be the last issue. because I have all those. Issue 5, let's see. We have issue 5 was Patrick Stewart.
Okay.
And then issue 4, 3, and then the holiday special. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 holiday.
I believe we're only missing 2, and I think they come after the Christmas issue. I think the one's after the Christmas issue.
Yeah, see, that's all I have. And I have oh my God, I have more that is all handwritten stuff. Yeah. I wasn't going to post because it's too hard to read.
I guess you wouldn't have you wouldn't have the stuff that came out after the Christmas issue because you were no longer actually taping things together and photocopying it. And
basically,
we were just able to print them on computers computers.
So if these existed, someone's got to find them because I don't have anything beyond. I mean, everything I post is pretty much all I have.
I mean, my memory's crappy, but I know they existed.
Well, hey, I mean, if someone could find them, there's no doubt in my mind that because look there's 63 unused stuff I posted, 63, and there was more, but I just didn't post it because it was all handwritten.
Yep.
And so I mean, I have 2 folders filled with crap. I have a whole box.
It's not crap.
Well, it's not crap, but I mean, it's just oh my God, and people I never heard of. Before I'm like, oh my God, who is this person? Who gave us this? Weird drawings, and
well, I used to get all sorts of things put in my locker.
Wait, let's
all the time.
Let's dive into that because we started the fact that if you put stuff in this locker, and that was real hate mail that we published. That wasn't made up.
Yeah. No, it was real.
And I have.
we thought it was hilarious.
I loved it. I loved getting the hate mail. That's the whole point I did the Cato's Corner was because it was great, people are writing to us. This is awesome.
I have envelopes I think with the mail from them.
The first or second Cato Corner wasn't real mail. It was something I made up.
Yeah,
and then it was and then people actually started because it's you got to let people know, hey, send me something. Here's something fake,
Well, and then the easiest way to get published is to write something really hateful and funny. At least with our group, it was.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it was brutal. Oh, we're gonna come after you, and then we retorted. We're
many times,
and then we got some nice mail, and then we started getting random articles. Mm-hmm. And I think the military gay one was a random one we got in our mailbox.
Yep.
Yeah, 'cause sometimes people wouldn't put their names or anything; they just stuff it in there, and it's hey, let's run with it.
Yeah, some people supported us. Were and the people who said they hated us, we never met them. No. They never confronted us in real life.
Well, I mean, they certainly had plenty of opportunity to after we were public.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it was probably mostly just a jealousy thing, Or I didn't think of it first.
It's like a YouTube comment. Yeah. You're hiding behind something, and you could just spout off.
By the way, I this only just occurred to me in them starting to try to figure out who even who we all were.
Yeah.
Do you think maybe they started with looking up who had that locker number?
I think it was a random locker number, wasn't it?
It wasn't my locker, and it wasn't your locker. No. I believe it was.
It was just one that was not being used?
I think it might have been Shane O'Connell's locker.
Oh, God.
Thanks,
he
Shane.
just didn't use it. Because he used to have that huge backpack he carried everywhere with him.
And he was such a small guy.
He was. And remember his backpack? It would stick out way far. And he just carried everything with him. He just didn't use the locker. So I think it was in freshman year. He was just we needed someplace to have people send us stuff. We didn't want to use our lockers because we didn't want to get in trouble.
And I think after freshman year, I never had a real locker. I shared lockers with people. I think my freshman year, sophomore year, but then I did the same thing. Everything was in a book bag, and I shared a locker with somebody.
Yeah, it's
it's easier than running from one corner of the school to the opposite corner and then back because you needed to switch books.
Yeah, and you're right. I mean, we used someone's locker. We knew nobody would figure it out who.
Yeah, and I think we put our own lock on it. So I mean, even if they went back there and wanted to get in there, it's we didn't use a school lock, so they couldn't.
And we stopped this magazine afterwards, and I found those photos of us at Denny's. I posted, and I'm like, we must have gotten together. I mean, we all still hung out after, up until high school ended. So we did go to Denny's a lot.
Yeah, well, we still all hung out.
But did we do anything at Denny's? Did we have meetings there?
We tried.
Yeah,
it was more I think by that point it was mostly people it was for almost everybody. It was more like, yeah, we'll say we'll go to this meeting, but really we're just going to hang out with our friends.
Yeah,
it was some of us wanted to get it started again, and some of us were like,
we're past it. Let's do something else.
Well, I think part of it too was towards the end, like after we basically stopped. I mean, that was basically the time we all just started getting into women.
Not me.
Or the other end of the spectrum. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying, though.
Yeah.
It's like the age where the hormones hit, and it's like, you know what? You know what sounds like a great idea? Sex.
And I had the horrible nickname, and because of all this, it made me remember it. The one Nate made up, and I was like, Bryce, and I was like, oh my God. He was like, you were on the cutting edge. This was before Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
they put their names together.
Yeah.
Well, I remember, back then being like very upset because like you used to like go out and hang out with Justina like after school, like when we used to hang out. So it was kind of like, and being an adult now, I'm like think back and I'm like, hell yeah, Bryon was getting some, but it's like,
but we're all like that.
But back then, as a kid, I'm like, what the fuck? This bitch is stealing my friend.
Yeah. No, you know what though? It's interesting being in our 30s now, and you look back, and you're absolutely right though, because now when I have a friend who gets a girlfriend, I'm like, oh, I'm not going to see them. Well, good for them. I'm happy.
Yeah.
Like, what do they want to do? Hang out with me or with their new girlfriend? They're going to have a new girlfriend,
obviously.
But in high school, it is so different. We look at life so differently, and it's like, even when I wasn't with her and we were hanging out, we had friends who did the same thing. They disappear. They would have a girlfriend, and you'd be like, oh, what the frick? And I did that. It was horrible. I don't know. I wish I kind of look back in that, and I kind of wish I didn't have a girlfriend in high school. I think life would have been so much simpler. And I think every high school student should just be like, you should just be taught, don't worry about the other opposite sex.
Yeah.
Just
I think people try to teach them that, but
it's tough. It's tough.
The hormones take over right
there.
It is. There's not much you can do about
like,
that. Because I did basically the same thing. It's like it was kind of funny because like you were dating Justina for like a year or something, or close to that.
Too
and
long.
It's like we didn't like really hang out. We didn't really hang out much at all during that time when you were dating her. Like the occasional thing, but it was like you were with her. So and then like you guys started beefing and looked like you were gonna break up. And then I got a girlfriend at that point.
Yeah.
And I started. I was dating Becky Zane, and then I don't remember if you know her. She didn't go to our high school. But,
she goes to another school.
Something like Summers High or something like that.
Interesting.
But it was like it's like those relationships in high school kind of stopped us from hanging out as much, and because we didn't hang out as much, that was kind of like that was the linchpin that kind of held all the Phantom stuff together. So it just stopped,
Yeah,
that was kind of really where it happened, And it was on top of that. It was like we had a lot of people who were kind of getting pissed off because it was being censored and all this other like liberal stuff about it. And even though it wasn't, it was just kind of the way
people saw it.
Yeah, it's just teenage angst and stuff.
Yeah, we could have gotten through all those if all three of us were always thinking about that still, but obviously,
in hindsight, I wish we did, but we all learned our life lessons. I mean,
it's something I'm still proud of today, to this day, though. I mean, when you put all that stuff up there, and I was just like, it blew me away.
It blows me away that we put that much out.
Yeah,
we were that together.
I still am surprised. Like, I could have sworn that I was only involved for like 2 issues.
And there was a lot. Yeah, I mean,
you were involved in a lot.
Yeah, I guess so.
And, I mean, we put out 2 volumes worth, and the second volume had less issues but more content.
Yeah.
So it was.
Can you go back to that history? Is that over here? Where?
Yeah, just
that?
close
Close
this, and then
where was that?
Go to Phantom.
Click on the Phantom's newsletter. Right?
Click on the photos. Click on the photos right there, and then you'll see everything listed.
All right, where was it?
Oh, history's under notes.
Notes.
So go down, click that little arrow as we're describing this on a podcast. Go up. Meeting notes.
Close your eyes. Use your imagination, folks.
Under meeting notes is the history, I believe.
Meeting notes. There we go.
Josh is learning how to use Facebook.
He's learning how to use the internet as we talk.
What's this thing called again?
There's a mouse. All right, scroll
I
down.
don't like rodents.
Scroll down.
No, I just wanted to see because
history right
it'll
there.
probably say like when you start because the Awesome World of Bob was May 22nd.
Mm-hmm.
Issue 7.
So that was issue 1, 2, 3, 4. No, issue 5.
Issue 5 was May 8th. So
May 22nd. No, I'm counting here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. May 22nd.
Yeah.
Am I not counting right?
No, because
how many fingers you see there?
May 8th. Well, let's say it's May 8th in
Is
issue
the issue
5.
number 5.
And then April 24th.
Okay, so
Phantom's
that's
Worst
I
issue
see
3.
it says in
Yeah.
issue 5. So we're missing one there too then somewhere.
Well, I think I just highlighted the dates of when we did things.
Okay.
So, I mean, it might not correspond with an issue. April 10th
Chaos
was
is
issue 2.
introduced, so is Ed Wood, and I sold my soul to the Avon Lady, and Cato's Corner also does.
I think it just highlights what happened, not particularly an issue.
So basically, May 22nd, issue number 7 is when Nate did the first Awesome World of Bob.
So that's when you had you come
Right.
on and type
So
things.
I obviously was talking to you guys at least an issue before that.
Just osmosis.
Yeah.
So okay. I was already planning my hostile takeover at that point, but yeah. So clearly,
Diabolical plot to take over the world.
And, I think after the Phantoms too, we got involved with voices.
oh, definitely.
Because we were into voices. We also promoted voices in one of our in the Christmas issue, the Voices concert.
Did we?
We did. We put the leaflet in there.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think I got into voices my senior or junior year.
I was big into it. Like,
I got
you
into
were
it late.
too.
I was in it for 3 years. Like the for volume 2, I was already in the chorus.
I was too, and I was in the main event thing that first
Yes.
year, and then I didn't do it the second year. But
The year we saw, I was in it.
Yep.
Which could have been my senior year.
I think it was just your senior year.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I think other things we got involved.
This is chorus we're talking about.
Yeah,
That's
chorus.
what Voices is.
Yeah, that's true.
It was called Voices Incorporated.
Yep.
And I think even after Phantoms though ended, we still hung out after school. That was the big hangout. We still hung out
Definitely
after
was.
school.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean I can.
Drama class, trying to get into drama class. I remember me and you.
We went there, and unfortunately my grades were not good enough.
That was always
Neither
my
was mine.
problem.
But we went and we tried out anyways, you know,
Yes.
and they both told us they were really well, and we weren't going to get any parts because our grades sucked.
Good times.
Yeah, I know.
Can you guys remember anything else about the Phantoms? Like we put out the last issue 5, and if there was anything missing in there, but I kind of feel like it petered off. I don't ever remember us going, okay, we're done. Do you?
No.
Do you remember
No, actually, I do remember us trying to have meetings for weeks and just never really getting anywhere with anything.
So we just we're done.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I think it went on for like a month after. You know,
Yeah,
it was like
it was
we'd
fewer
show
and
up.
fewer people as well. It was.
It's no longer cool.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
it was partly. I think you were right, Josh. It was partly that people were starting to date, or there were other
getting
things.
busy.
Yeah, and definitely also as those big performing arts things, with the drama club, with Voices, with
all the extra curricular activities that we were doing.
A lot of our group was involved in those things, and major events were coming up, and it was like, I can't stay after that. I got to do my, I have to do my homework so that I can be at the dress rehearsal for this thing. And
That's true. Yeah.
So high school is a busy time, and in freshman year, I mean, I didn't do as much stuff as I did in sophomore, junior, and senior year. I mean, freshman year, I mean, I had just moved to Enfield my freshman year, so I didn't really know anybody at school. I mean, you guys probably both went to JFK and stuff and whatever, and I didn't know anybody. I mean, I met you like the first day of school,
Yeah.
because
we
you
were
were on my
just like,
bus,
Yeah.
you know, and I remember because I sat towards the front, and because I didn't know anybody, and everybody always sits in the back, So I sat towards the front, and I think you sat next to me. It's like, oh, you like the front too? Cool.
Yeah.
That's how it started.
Yeah. That's
He
true.
used to always save and then he would save the spot in the front. He would come up and walk like.
Was I in the bus before you?
No, your bus stop would come after me, but you would walk to my bus stop.
That's true. We used to hang out.
So you could like stand out there and
we would talk and bullshit.
I don't know if you guys remember this. I actually came home. I came with you to go to your house, Josh, a few times after school, and I would get in trouble for it because this is actually kind of embarrassing. My freshman year, because I stayed back a year, and that's how we ended up in the same class. But my original freshman year, I got on the wrong. No, I got off at the wrong stop. The first day of school, and I walked home, but I was new to that neighborhood as well, and I wasn't too far from home, but it took me like an hour to get home.
Yeah.
Parents.
I mean, I know where you live from my house, and it was.
That was.
I mean,
it's a bit of a hike.
It is a bit of a hike.
Yeah.
Because I mean, to walk from my house to Skidco Market was probably like 20 minutes.
Yep.
And then it was easily another 25 minutes up walk. I mean, in a car, you'd be there in 3 minutes.
Right.
But
So I took
true.
over an hour to get home.
Yeah.
Later than I should have. My father freaked out. Didn't know what happened to me. He was calling the school. He was calling the bus company. So for the next several years,
I remember this.
The next several years, all the bus drivers in that area knew me, and they thought I was like a really special kid. And I would get in trouble if I got on. They never trusted me, and they would.
You're not allowed on this bus.
Yeah.
Your bus is that one.
Yeah. That's awesome. I do remember that. I do.
That's funny.
God. No, Josh, I remember. We became pretty close friends very fast. Like, we became best buds, like, almost like, I think back now, it's like almost immediately, and I'm sure, we were just like, we like the same music, and we
both listen to They Might Be Giants.
which are still together now. Yeah. And
it's such an obscure band, and to find somebody else who listens to them too, like right off the bat, you're like, really?
Yeah. And I remember
heard of them too?
like Might Be Giants, and then we would get into like funks of these kinds of genres of music, and we would just like you'd be like, hey, listen to this. I'd be like, hey, listen to this. And I think that was why our relationship worked, because in high school, I always felt it was cool to hate something. It was true. Like, if someone was like, you should listen to it, like, fuck that. Yeah. But like for me and you, we were pretty open. Like, we were kind of like, you kind of go, hey, listen to this. Oh, I dig that. Listen to this. I dig that. And I think, honestly, in high school, I didn't have a big brother. So having you as a friend, I think it was sort of like, musical taste wise, we introduced each other to a lot of cool stuff.
Absolutely.
And I always think back about that. Like, that was cool of us, because it's like you always have that one friend who's into music and will introduce you to stuff you might not ever heard. And my younger brother heard the music because of me, but nobody was there to give me music other than my parents.
Right.
So that kind of stuff I heard growing up.
Thanks for the Beatles, Mom.
Yeah.
Right.
But I think that's what hit us off, and then the idea with the fans was my brother. No, but like even just the idea was, I don't know what made us like, oh, let's print something and post it, and we did it, and then it just turned into this big monster. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I know I had a lot of influence from the like letter columns from the back of comic books. Like when I was a kid, it's like when I remember distinctly, like when we started writing it, like trying to like have that humor that they always used to, because like especially because I would do the Cato's Corner things, and it was like tutorials, and I tried to like use a lot of the, like in the they answered questions in the concourse, because they always like get the stupidest questions, and they always like make just some kind of snarky like dumb answer that just kind of makes fun of whoever's asking the question.
Was it the Advocate they kind of pushed us? Because I remember.
Well, we definitely plagiarized or
I remember
photocopied from
all the time.
We would read the Advocate, and I kind of feel like the Advocate kind of pushed us, because then we took real astrology, which we blatantly just cut up and put it on there. And I think the Advocate.
I think it was Dan who always did those.
Yeah, but I feel like the Advocate or just something kind of gave us this spark, this idea, and we rolled with it. Yeah.
I wish he was here right now, because he'd probably have a lot of insight into some of this stuff too.
Absolutely.
Yeah, maybe next time we get together, Dan, I'm hoping we'll come back. He's in California, living the dream.
Yeah, what's he doing down there?
He works.
Let's say
he works for the government or something.
All right.
He loves California. He's been back and forth a couple of times, but I'm hoping maybe in the summertime he'll be back. So we'll definitely have to plan something else, even if it's not Dan. Someone else. I mean, there's perspectives on this from groups that were a part of the group that I've never heard of.
Yeah, you know, I mean, there was a lot of people that did a lot of stuff. I mean, all the top 10 lists. That was a big thing. I used to get people coming up to me and handing me top 10 lists, and I would go home with like 10, 12, 15 of them.
Yeah.
And some of them were really good, but a lot of them weren't. But I mean, we could have like made a book out of all the top 10 lists we had, you know, and
Just
it's
top
like
10s.
Yeah, do a whole like podcast just on that if we had them.
We love the top 10s. And you know, I was looking at like the people that were, I think it's on this. Okay, so we have like
20 something.
We had 31 people who signed it.
It said before we were suspended, it went from 17 and then it said to 30. You know, it's like we had 17 of us at the beginning, you know.
Mm-hmm. And like we had names, there's names on here. I'm like, oh my God, I haven't, they're not on Facebook. Or if they are, I tell people, send them the link to this. Get them on here. I'm glad the people that are like Paul Amita, which doesn't go by Amita anymore, or Paul.
It's the first name. He's not.
Yeah, what's I'm not sure what.
I
recognize
Facebook,
him though.
Lucas.
Yeah, okay.
And oh my God, I mean, the times we'd hang out with that guy, and it was so great to see him. And Mike Debadart, seeing him on Facebook, I'm like, holy shit, I'm friends with him now, and all these faces I haven't seen in such a long time. Even like I can't search people if I'm not friends with them. So it's like if other people are, or maybe they'll get a hold of us.
Miss MySpace.
Yeah, right.
By the way, I just want to share something. I stole this from a friend, but
that's all of our best work.
Yeah.
No, but a friend of mine put this up as a status update. But he said Facebook got me friends, Twitter got me followers, but MySpace got me laid.
Ain't that the truth? That's so funny.
That's awesome.
I'm like looking at this list right now of all that, and somebody. I think I know all these people. I think.
Yeah, is Shane O'Connell even on? I couldn't find him on Facebook.
He was another one who was never allowed to come to the meetings though, and was like never allowed out of his house and stuff.
Yeah,
it's like he like his parents made him come home and do his homework and stay in his room, and it's like, which sucks. I'm never gonna do that to my kids.
Justin Lassard, he's someone I did see in between out of high school, once. I saw him once.
Yeah,
I was working at 99. As a waiter, and he came in, and I waited. I'm like, oh my God, he recognized me.
And what I love is like such a completely when we were doing the Phantom,
he was a hippie.
He was a tiny kid.
Yeah.
And he got kind of big. Got kind of.
Oh, did he?
I mean, not. I'm not saying he got fat. I'm saying like he became a much more imposing figure and short hair and.
Yes, short hair. Wasn't he DJ?
I believe so.
I think he was.
I haven't seen him. I'm curious as to what he looks like now.
And he looked the same, just short hair. And they say, and he was a DJ, and he was like, doing stuff because he was such a short guy.
Wow, really?
He was doing stuff. Well, he wasn't a bum, so that's good. I mean, I don't know. Rich Sabonis,
something to be proud of.
I mean, I see him on a regular basis. Mike Debadar, which he doesn't live in Enfield anymore.
I'm not sure where he lives right now.
No. I think he just moved again recently.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was living in Thompsonville, but I'm not sure where he lives now.
And some of these people, like Renee, she's got a family now.
Mm-hmm.
Debbie's got a family or married.
Yeah, her daughter
now.
goes to the same school my son does. I see her
Oh,
everywhere.
nice.
Oh, it's so funny. The first day of school, I'm walking up to school, and her daughter's name is Bridget, I think it is. And I see her, and she looks just like Renee.
Oh, my God.
Just like her. And I
Yeah.
stopped in my tracks. I'm like, I know you, but I don't know you.
The kid's like, get away from me.
Walking up to a little kid, hey, do I know you from somewhere?
Well, I kind of did do that. I was like, do I what's your mom's name? I was like, what's your mom's name? She says, Mom.
Yeah. She ain't not gonna tell you. Mom.
No, she did. She told me it was Renee, and I was like, I know your mom.
That's awesome. Yeah, Renee and her husband moved 2 houses away from my parents. So when I visit my parents, they're right there.
Oh, that's cool.
And like Corey Slack was part of this. He's on Facebook.
Mm-hmm. I was in D-Malay with him too.
Yeah. Tony Rinaldi. He wasn't. Was he part of this? I'd never sent him a thing.
He was part of the social group, but I don't think he ever really wanted to be or ever wanted to put in the effort.
Yeah, he was one of those people. He was just friends with everybody who did do stuff, so he was there.
Yeah. Lena Lincoln, Jonathan Hill, who used to be on Facebook, disappeared because I searched for him, and John was a great guy. Mm-hmm. He was an interesting guy. We all know he's an interesting guy. And I saw him at Subway once, and I was just getting food, and he kept talking to me. I'm like, okay, man, I got to get going. And he's like, oh, I'll find you on Facebook. So he finds me on Facebook, and he just sends me this weird message, and I didn't know what to do. I had something, maybe I'll invite him. And it was like this really sad message, and and then he disappeared.
Yeah.
Never heard. He's off of Facebook. I don't know. And John had. We know he had. I don't know. Stuff was going on in his life.
Yeah, I follow what you're saying.
Yeah. And I feel bad. Like I wish he was back on Facebook or get in touch with him.
Yeah, I know. I mean, and you said Shane O'Connell's not on Facebook anymore.
I don't think he ever was. I don't think he was.
Ever?
I don't think he was ever.
Hey,
Kathy Bugай was someone who I remember. I have photos of her birthday party and all us hanging out. I think you might have been at her birthday party.
Maybe.
I don't think Nate was. And
I didn't really do much with anybody outside of school.
That's true. Yeah. Somehow you're the most popular guy, but you didn't hang out with anybody really. Everybody knew you.
Amazing how that worked out.
I'm incredibly introverted, and I all the stuff I was doing in school required me to be in front of people so much. Like I went home and I just sat in my room and because I needed to recharge and not be around people.
I remember Josh and myself going to your house and seeing your bedroom. And remember you had the poster of Macaulay Culkin?
No, I don't remember that at all.
Yes, you had a Home Alone poster.
Yes, he did.
He did.
And
it was, "Are you hungry for more?" It was the quote from Home Alone, and he had the BB gun, and you had it above your bed or on the wall, and it said,
I don't think it was above the bed.
It was on the wall, and it was like, "Are you hungry for more?" It was the quote from Home Alone, because when the burglars come in, he goes,
I remember that day because your brother had just started taking. This is weird how this memory just popped into my head, but I remember the exact day because your brother was just started taking karate.
Yeah,
which he's like a master
we were
now.
Sitting at your table or something, working on something for the Phantoms, and he came in and he was like, Nate, check out this move. If somebody gets you in a headlock, you just take both your fists and just punch them square in the balls like that. And he was just so proud of this, and I remember that. I guess that stuck in my head because now I know what to do if somebody gets me in a headlock.
Yeah, and as Bryon said, that became his career.
It did.
He
is huge into that.
He has a school in Glastonbury now, and
I know, and he's.
So that's really funny.
I actually stopped by there once.
I had a Macaulay Culkin poster in my bedroom. Seriously,
it was a Macaulay Culkin poster, and it said, "Are you hungry for more?"
Well, that was cool back then, though.
Home Alone was huge, and the quote
Yeah, but wait a minute.
And you thought
I was in high school with a picture of Home Alone Macaulay Culkin in my bedroom.
Yes. Yeah. You did. I remember this because me and Josh were like, we laughed. That's hilarious. And we were like, I think we talked about it the whole night, like how funny we thought it was. And I remember sitting on your couch waiting for a ride to pick us up. And you were, we're talking about stuff, and you're like, oh, we're having a meeting, serious. And the Macaulay Culkin poster was just embedded in my head going, why does he have Macaulay Culkin? Do you still have that?
You remember the Macaulay Culkin?
I don't
I remember his brother showing us how to do nut shots.
Yeah. And
I don't remember anything about working on the Phantoms newsletter, though. I'm sure we did that, too, though.
Yeah. I do remember you showing us what you were typing, and we would have meetings ourselves, just the three of us. I do remember going to your house for a couple times. A lot,
actually. I mean, we used to, basically, because we'd have the meetings for, like, the Phantoms on Tuesday, but the three of us would meet, like, every day after school, pretty much,
I don't remember that at all. That's funny.
We went to your house a lot, though.
Because it was, like, what was it? Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Fridays were, like, the late bus.
Monday,
Wednesday, Friday, or something like that. I forget.
Yeah.
It was 3 days a week. Yeah. I know that.
I think it was Monday, Wednesday, Thursday.
All right, yeah. So, and one of those days was the day we had the meeting, and then the other 2 days would usually be days where the three of us would get together for something,
Yeah.
Whether it just be to, like, paste shit together or whatever,
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I do go to Nate's house was always interesting. That poster of Macaulay Culkin. You're
making it sound weird, man.
No, what you did with your poster is your business. Yeah.
Are you hungry for more?
Hungry for more?
The mouth wasn't cut out or anything, was it?
No. I think you just. I mean, at the time, I think you were pretty open with us. So it wasn't a big shocker. I mean, it was funny, but who knows? Yeah. Anyway, we'll move on from Macaulay Culkin. What else? What other stories do we have? I mean, we covered the basic, but weird shit did happen to us a lot.
Weird shit always happened. Well, there was the time. Oh, you got somebody.
Oh, who's knocking?
Somebody's knocking. You allowed to open it? Uh-oh.
Oh.
What's going on here?
The trash. Right there.
Emptying the trash.
Emptying the trash.
This is like podcast gold right here.
I know. Thank you.
I remember sitting having like a library study hall with you. I think we used to go over the stuff.
Yeah.
And like trying to.
Oh my God! Yeah, I just come back to me library study hall. Me, you, and I think that's when Dan was more involved in the study hall. Dan was there.
He was in the study hall with us. There was three of us, and there was that kid who was always in the wheelchair. He used to come over there and hang out with us. I don't remember his name.
Me neither.
He was because he had the dwarfism or something.
Yes. Holy shit! Yeah.
And so I remember working a lot on it back then.
Man,
doing that stuff, and we used to sit there at the newspapers, and but they didn't want us to cut things out of those newspapers.
Those bastards.
I know, right? And I used to, anyways. But
those precious newspapers,
but I still cut stuff out.
They're like, this is gonna be precious one day. History.
Well, I remember looking for we'd look for comic strips that we could change the words in to make like different stuff.
By the way, if anyone has not read Garfield minus Garfield, you need to look that up right now.
Oh yeah, this is true. That's very popular.
I have seen that.
Yeah, that brings back because and then I think study hall we would hang out there, and we would do stuff, and I think that's where Dan was more involved.
He was, yeah. He
was more involved in that time because that's when he was there. He really never did stay after school that much.
Oh, not really. I mean, and I think it was just the thing where his parents didn't want him to. His parents wanted him home right after school, but his mom loved us.
Yeah,
so it was like towards the end when like not as many people were contributing, we would get frustrated because it's like, okay, last month we put out 20 pages. This month we have 3. and it'd be just like something I wrote, something you wrote, something Nate wrote, and nothing else. And then Dan would come with like 20 pages worth of material, and half of it was crap. But the effort was there, and his mom would help him so much. He'd stayed up all night with his mom, like pasting all this stuff and gluing it together, and it was like, even though some of it sucked, it was like, thank you, you're like a lifesaver. We can actually like put something out.
And I think he gave us so much, we would put 1 or 2 in each issue, and that's why in the leftover stuff there's a lot of it we never used. Because I think it was like, well, we don't want it to just become a let's cut out comic strip crossword magazine. It became a Reader's Digest, even though we ripped off Reader's Digest quotes. What Nate did. Nate would rip off the Reader's Digest quotes.
We ripped off a lot of stuff.
And we put that in there. And I think just a quick little story. Our freshman year, and we were in the middle of ending the first run of the Phantoms, and me and Dan, it was after school. It was a Friday. It was the last day for seniors, and I think we were still there for like 2 weeks before our last day. So me and Dan were walking in the hallway, and I did my best in high school to survive from the upperclassmen. Just blend in or get the frick out of the way and don't bother these people.
You were lucky, man. You had a goatee when you were like 14. So
I had my old license and I looked like a Puerto Rican.
It was a thin mustache, no doubt. But I don't think I knew any other 14-year-olds who had facial hair like you did at that age.
I was drinking coffee still. Yeah. And I wish I had my old. I still have my old high school license IDs, which we never got on time. We'd give them at the end of the semester. It was so stupid. So we're walking in the hall, and Dan says to me, and Dan was lanky and tall kid, lanky. He goes, "Skip with me, Bryon," and he grabs my hand, which no problem, I don't care. Grab my hand, whatever. So he starts skipping, and I sort of, and then I'm like, not a good idea. As I'm saying this and thinking in my head, this is not good. 2 big seniors, big muscle dudes, they yell, "Faggot," and chase Dan. I
remember
that?
This. Yes.
And we're skipping. I'm like, this is not a good idea. The guy goes, "Faggot, get him." They chased Dan. Dan like a gazelle. He's just like fucking and I just stood there going, what just happened? Dan, no cell phones. So Dan just took off. And I remember running downstairs, seeing where Dan was going to go. And I don't think he got away.
Yeah.
But these 2 big guys, and I'm like thinking, this is not going to be good. And it wasn't. There's Dan skipping, big lanky dude, and 2 seniors. Get him, I don't
think I was there for that, but I do remember hearing all about that.
It was like Dazed and Confused, like they were gonna paddle him or something.
He just liked being goofy. That's just the way. It was. It wasn't.
And then when we became the seniors, we were all like that. We were all goofy, and I don't think none of us really picked on. We were friends with underclassmen.
Absolutely. Yeah. I was. I knew a lot of underclassmen.
Yeah, same here.
All the way up until senior year, it's like I knew freshmen, and I was. And I remember when we were in sophomore year and we were getting all these new people to do the Phantoms, I remember we were excited that like all these freshmen wanted to join up because the whole purpose was like if you get underclassmen to make sure that it keeps on going, that kind of deal.
And we did get our photo in the yearbook, which someone posted, Stacy posted, and I think that photo was near the end of our Phantoms career anyway.
Yeah,
it was kind of like the nail in the coffin. We're like, okay, we got the photo. I think this is the big thing. We were being established as a club, and then we kind of fizzled out anyway. But years later, they started up the newspaper.
Yep.
Right? Yeah. Because of us. And I remember my dad.
Was it because of us, really?
I heard rumblings. It was because of the interest, because of the Phantoms. They realized there was an interest.
Yeah.
So they decided to bring the paper back.
That's awesome. That really is.
Yeah, that is awesome.
Because now that you say that, I can remember when we first started doing it, like inquiring at the school if they ever had a school newspaper. Because at one point we were like, maybe we can make it. This was before we got caught. I think this was in freshman year. But we did have the thought of maybe we can make it official at some point.
Yeah.
Make it like a Fermi newsletter, like the Fermi Phantoms or something like that. Yeah. And I don't think anything ever came of that, but
But
years later,
obviously, but nothing. I don't think we ever pursued. Is what I meant to say.
Right.
But I think we got that interest. Like they realized there were students that had an interest that they weren't tapping into.
Yeah. Well, and just the idea that, actually let the kids come up with content that's interesting to them was kind of a
foreign thing.
Yeah, it was a very foreign concept to them. That when to them a newspaper is like you go to the football game and write about the football game. Go to write a book report and we'll publish it. That was the what the old newspaper had been, and they certainly did that with the new newspaper after we were gone. But they also were more interested in having having creative stuff. Yeah, even if certainly. Once we wrapped up, it was pretty soon after that came Columbine. So, of course, talking about guns and threatening the student body and that kind of stuff would never be accepted.
No.
I forgot Columbine happened around that time because we would wear trench coats.
Yep.
And then we got in trouble. There was no more trench coats.
No more trench coats, no more chains.
Yeah.
Because you were allowed those back then, too.
Yep.
Yeah.
My freshman year, you could still wear hats in school.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys showed up and it was suddenly not allowed.
Yeah, there was no hat rule.
Which would totally upset me. I like my hat.
Yeah, I was like, I get to wear a hat. Oh. But the trench coat thing, we'd all have trench coats on. We all had, and I remember Dan, they targeted Dan for some reason.
Well, because he was one of the few with actually a black trench coat.
I had the brown.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And Dan, they targeted Dan. They really thought Dan was going to be some issue.
Yeah.
And he was really
upset. I don't understand why.
Because your
either.
fashion choice determines whether you're going to shoot people.
Wow, everyone.
Well, it's like the dude always had a smile and everything.
Yeah.
It's like he was just a generally friendly guy. I don't understand how anybody could think he's going to be maybe things where it's like
it was Mr.
You think the
Ross.
friendliest ones are over there writing the little list of people they're going to kill later or something. But
I think it was Mr. Ross, the one who got in trouble.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he was always a weirdo. Anyways,
well, he was the one that got in trouble leaving that message on Dan's answer machine.
Yeah.
And I wish I had the audio to that. Because that used to live on my parents' old computer, MP3. Before
that's how I found out what an MP3 even is.
Yes,
it was from that.
Yeah. Yes, you know what's weird? That message came up. I knew about it because Dan's mom indulged it with me. I don't know who I told, but it became a thing where they borrowed my recorder.
Yeah.
Because they put it in meetings to see if they wanted to leave it and see if they'd talk again. But what happened was Ray Bushnell.
Mm-hmm.
Said, I want a copy of this. Took it from Dan, made it an MP3. Then Dan graduated. They didn't want to make a big deal because Dan wanted to graduate. I think 2 years later is when it started making its rounds.
Yeah.
And it was 2 years after the fact he got in trouble for it, and he took an early retirement.
I'm not going to say exactly who it was, but it was a teacher who showed it to me.
Oh,
really?
Wow.
And it was a teacher who I socialized with after, and I don't mean sexually, in case anyone's going to interpret it that way. It was a teacher that I hung out with and or worked with after I was done with school.
Yeah, so I think I might know who you're talking about, but that is weird, and I wish we had that audio. I don't know who has it.
I can give you some quotes. He did say about Mrs. Schnars.
Yes.
I wouldn't let that woman take a bite out of my ass. I think it was about her.
Something about bagels.
I wouldn't let anybody take a bite out of my ass.
I remember seeing that and I was like, I don't know if there's anyone I would let do that.
But there was bagels. There was basically making fun of someone's last name for being Jewish.
Yep.
The ass and Dan's mom.
Yep. Did she work in the cafeteria?
Dan's mom, no.
Okay, then there was also he talked about bus drivers, cafeteria workers, many other students.
He's just going on a rant fest.
It was amazing, and all the other administrators, or at least clearly the other two male administrators, were in the room, but nobody ever identified them by name, which is why he's the only one that got in trouble. He was like, "This is."
Yes, because he left the message, beep. He thinks it hung up.
Yep.
He goes on his rant.
Never hit speakerphone when you're trying to hang up, everyone.
Yeah. Yeah, so man, one day we'll get that audio. That would be great. Phantom's gem right there.
I don't think we will. I've been searching for the last 5 years to
I give it up to Ray for MP3. Didn't know what it was until that point because this audio file. Why? How is it going around?
Yeah.
And this is dial-up internet. You didn't get music on the computer just yet anymore.
Unless you wanted to wait like 3 hours.
Yeah, you got MIDI files.
Yeah.
You really. Hey man, this sounds like a popular song. This is awesome.
Like, look, I can play the Mario Brothers theme on my keyboard.
Yeah. I don't know. Is there anything else, gentlemen? I mean, for this one, I think we covered everything.
I think we covered most of the stuff that's relevant to our extremely narrow audience.
Yeah, I mean, the people are gonna love the 10 people that on the Facebook are gonna love this.
Well, maybe they'll leave some good comments that'll spark some more memories.
Yeah,
it's just hard to like think back. It's like, I mean, sitting here with you guys, I've thought of so many things that I didn't think of beforehand.
Exactly.
I was saying this kind of off the mic a minute ago to Nate, and it's just, it seems like the more I think about it, the stuff just keeps popping up. So it's like I'm sitting here on the spot, like, oh, what was next? And it's like I can't come up with anything right away, but I guarantee I'm gonna go home and go, oh, remember that time?
Yeah.
So it's weird how memory works sometimes.
I think
I'm getting old.
Yeah. What we should do is we should definitely try to do this again if we can get Dan, but anybody else who's listening that says, I have some stories.
Yeah.
We can do another session sometime in the future.
I'd love to. This was great. I had a lot of fun.
Yeah. I think podcasts, in my opinion, like I do a show every Monday, and it's weird. Busy life, work, girlfriend, doing activities, but a podcast has become like the social norm of, hey, this is an excuse to get my friends together and just bullshit for a couple hours and hang out. And
that's a great way of doing it.
We're being productive.
Yeah.
We're doing something, Like, I kind of look at a podcast that way sometimes. Like, if we were like, oh, 3 of us, let's just get together and bullshit, it would have been tough. Because we're like, well, I'm doing this. Well, what can we hear? Hey, let's record it.
We have this date and time at the
We
studio.
can do it,
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people get a kick out of hearing this for the few people who will listen to it.
If
I'll
a
listen to it
dozen
back
counts as a lot, then
until I hear my voice, and then I'll be like, ugh.
No, this has been awesome, though. I thank you guys for making the time. And yeah, I encourage anybody who says, I want to come on, let us know, and maybe in February, March, or sometime in the summertime, and we get some other people on here.
I'd definitely love to do it again. This is my first podcast, but I've had a blast.
Yeah. This is it.
Yeah, me too.
This is a wonderful
I can sit here and
world.
shoot the shit anytime. And who knows, maybe 1 or 2 people might want to hear it.
Yeah. So thank you, guys. We'll be back sometime in the future.
Phantom signing out.
Mr. Simpson, would you please stand and face the jury? Mrs. Robertson.
Superior Court of California, County of Los Angeles. In the matter of the people of the state of California versus Orenthal James Simpson, case number BA097211. We, the jury, in the above entitled action, find the defendant Orenthal James Simpson not guilty of the crime of murder in violation of Penal Code Section 187A, a felony upon Nicole Brown Simpson, a human being, as charged in count 1 of the information. Superior Court of the State of California, County of Los Angeles, in the matter of the people of the State of California versus Orenthal James Simpson. We, the jury, in the above entitled action, find the defendant, Orenthal James Simpson, not guilty of the crime of murder in violation of Penal Code Section 187A, a felony upon Ronald Lyle Goldman, a human being, as charged in count 2 of the information. We, the jury, in the above entitled action, further find the special circumstance that the defendant, Orenthal James Simpson, has in this case been convicted of at least 1 crime of murder of the first degree and 1 or more crimes of murder of the first or second degree to be not true. Signed this 2nd day of October 1995, Juror 230. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, is this